We play and call it work.
Hey folks, Janene from MiniWarGaming here with another how-to video for you. In this video, we are going to continue work on this Varanguard model, and we are going to paint the teeth on the mount. As always, if you have suggestions for something you'd like to see in a future how-to video, please leave them down below in the comments. Now we want these to seem like really dark brown rotting teeth. We don't want them to be a bright bone like we would with a regular horse. We're going to begin by using the color Dryad Bark. We're going to mix it with a little bit of Lamian Medium. And we want to paint this all over the teeth. We want to make sure that we get all the way around. The interior of the mouth is a little hard to get to, but we really want to make sure that we get as much of the tooth as we can reach with our brush. And we want to get all the way from the very tip down into where the tooth goes into the gum line. Since this is a really dark brown, it's going to go on really well, but it's okay to apply the paint in thin layers and do a couple different layers until you build up a really nice solid base coat. Our next color is going to be Gorthor Brown. I'm also mixing this color with Lamian Medium, and I'm going to do that with all of my colors because I really want them to have a really nice flow. And I'm painting this on the tips of the teeth. I'm going to begin highlighting so that I keep the colors very brown and very dark. So I'm using browns that have a little bit more gray in them and don't have a lot of red or orange in them. And I'm going to paint this over about 70% of the tooth, kind of tapering it towards the very tip. And I really want to make sure that I leave my dark Dryad Bark color in the areas of the tooth that are sculpted to have a little bit of a recess. Leaving that darker color is going to exaggerate the texture of that and really make it look like there's a lot of depth to the tooth. I also want to leave the dark Dryad Bark color really dark near the gum line. And again, the area where I want it to be the most concentrated is towards the very tip of each of these jagged teeth. Our next color is going to be Baneblade Brown. This is another subtle gray brown. And as I paint this, I'm less concerned with making sure that I have a lot of coverage on each of the teeth. And I'm painting this more as a line highlight, really just kind of picking out the textured sections of the tooth. And again, dragging the paint towards the tip so that it's far more concentrated on the very top of the teeth and darker towards the base where the tooth extends into the gums. Because of the way the tooth is shaped, applying this in thin lines and dragging it towards the tip means that there's going to be more space between each of the lines as the tooth gets wider at the bottom, and each of the lines is going to meet up into a solid color towards the tip. And so that's going to be a really easy way to kind of control where on the tooth is brighter. Our next color is Varanguard Flesh. We're continuing to paint even less of the teeth, really just exaggerating the sharpness and making the top brighter and picking out the largest ridges on some of the largest teeth to exaggerate that texture that's sculpted in. And then we are going to add a final highlight of Flayed One Flesh. And we don't need to use a lot of this color. We're really just adding a final super highlight to the very tips of the teeth, just to exaggerate their sharpness and make them seem more jagged and more vicious. But we don't want to use a lot of this color because we want the teeth to remain very dark. Our final step is going to be to use a little bit of Agrax Earthshade. And I'm just applying a little bit of this along the gum line just to really deepen that shadow and to add a final darkest brown to the very base of the teeth. I don't need to use a lot of this color. I'm really just doing a fine line and making sure that I paint in the very deepest parts of the recesses that are sculpted on the teeth. Alright, and after that Agrax Earthshade has dried, the teeth on this Varanguard mount are complete. Thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to see more how-to videos, I have another one where I'm going to paint all of the horns and bone pieces of this mini in the MiniWarGaming vault in the link down below in the description. If you don't already have a Vault membership, you can go ahead and click the link, sign up for a 7-day free trial, and get access to my video, as well as hundreds of other videos in the MiniWarGaming Vault. So go ahead, click the link, start your free trial, and happy wargaming!